Sometimes I dream that he is me. Got to see that's how I dream to be.
I dream I move,
I move.
I dream I groove, like Mike, if I could be like Mike.
Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and look, this is my review for Air, starring Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Chris Tucker, Jason Bateman, and Viola Davis, and was directed by none other than Ben Affleck himself. And our story puts us right in the midst of 1984, where Nike's basketball division is facing bankruptcy, or essentially just facing its end. They can't compete with Converse and Adidas, and yes, as crazy as that sounds, there was one point in this time where Converse and Adidas their basketball divisions was way bigger than Nike's, and it just makes no sense still to this day, because of course we know Nike is one of the biggest basketball developing places in the world, and Nike and Jordan at this point literally have all the athletes that we all look up to, except for Under Armour, because everybody loves Steph Curry. But nonetheless, look, either way, this is the story of how Sonny Vaccaro, Phil Knight, and these guys in the Nike division had to pull out all the stops to sign none other than Michael Jordan, and it was an impossible feat itself, because it's let known multiple times in the film that Michael Jordan did not want anything to do with Nike. He had nothing. He didn't even want to take a meeting with them. So this is the story of how they had to jump through all these hoops and go through all these obstacles to essentially sign one of the greatest athletes and one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And let's just get right into what I liked about the movie, because there's not a lot I didn't like. So let's get into it. So to start with what I liked about the film, I'm going to talk about Ben Affleck's directing. Look, as far as I'm concerned, this guy is 4 for 4 when it comes to just making groundbreaking film work. And as far as I'm concerned, like, this dude understands moviegoers. Like, Ben Affleck has clearly proven in his previous films, The Town, Argo, Gone Baby Gone, that he understands what moviegoers want when they walk into a theater. He understands what we need as moviegoers, as general audiences, what we actually need to be entertained and just absolutely just taken away by what's happening on screen. Ben Affleck clearly understands us, because he's doing it yet again in this film in Air. I mean, when I tell you that, I understand this film takes place in 1984, but when I tell you that this movie felt like a literal time capsule, that we literally stepped into this time traveling capsule and we went back to 1984. We are just in a whole different world. Ben Affleck does a great job of making it feel like you are in a world where Nike is not as big as it was once before. Like, I am literally just shocked. Like, I do know the story of how they came to making the shoe and everything like that, and I understand that, of course, Nike was not as big as Converse and Adidas at one point. As far as their basketball division goes, they weren't as big as, Converse and Adidas at one point, because now Nike is one of the biggest Nike is the biggest basketball brand in the entire world. Like, everybody knows what Nike is. Shoot, Nike was signing athletes like LeBron James straight out of high school. So ever since I was growing up, Nike was always the big dog. But this movie here proves to you that that just wasn't the case at some point. Like I said, Michael Jordan didn't even want to take a meeting with these guys. So it's like, they were really shitting on Nike as if like it's just absolute crap. Like, nobody wants to wear Nike. Nike's not cool. Nike's not this. Nike's not that. And it's just so crazy sitting there watching that just all just play out on screen, because it's really like living in a whole different world, because like it's just so surreal to hear people talk about Nike as if it isn't what it is today. It's like we're just living in a whole new world and a whole different world in this film, and Ben Affleck does a great job of bringing that world to life. Literally, this movie has an entire nostalgic feel to it. I mean, there's so many throwbacks to whatever candy bars and magazines and drinks you guys grew up drinking in the 80s. I had no idea what any of the stuff that it was referring to. I mean, it was just a lot of old Hostess bars and stuff like that. But like I said, this movie is just fantastic as far as the nostalgic feel goes. And as far as the writing, big credit to Alex, I think his name is Convery. Yeah, Alex Convery, the guy who wrote this film. Oh my God. I mean, this movie is superbly written. I mean, so brilliantly written. The dialogue is fantastic. It makes the performances just that much stronger. I felt like I was watching, honestly, This is some of the best writing I've seen in a film, or some of the best written dialogue I've experienced in a film since probably The Social Network. Like dialogue has not had me glued to the screen like this since I've seen The Social Network. Like, this movie was that well written. I actually need to give immense credit to Alex Convery and Ben Affleck for the writing and directing of this film, because then those two absolutely showed out. And of course, the biggest people who showed out in this film is everybody who gave a phenomenal performance in this film, which is damn near everybody who was on screen. I mean, I enjoyed literally every performance that had to do with this movie, man. I mean, everybody brought a certain sort of charisma to the film. They brought a different sort of energy that was much needed to tell this story, and they do such a phenomenal job. And honestly, I'm not even mad at this film, and honestly, this isn't really a spoiler because the trailer hints to it as well that he's not really in this movie. It's not a spoiler that Michael Jordan isn't really shown in this movie whatsoever. He's there, but there's no, like, solidified actor playing him. I'm not sure if it's a CGI body, or I'm not sure if it's like a stand-in, but they have some guy portraying him with his hair, but you only see him from the back. You don't see his face. You hear his voice somewhat throughout the movie, but they make a pivotal point to let you know that this movie is not about Michael Jordan, but it's more so about the effect of Michael Jordan, and essentially more so the effect that this shoe had on the world once Michael stepped into it. Like, this shoe was so much more than just a regular shoe. Of course, you know, like, nowadays, yes, Jordans are one of the biggest shoes in the world. Like, we all go crazy over them. We stand in big lines for them. I mean, well, not anymore. More so it's online selling nowadays. But either way, like, we went crazy over Jordans. Everybody knows the shoe craze, how everybody saved up all their money, all their hard-earned money to buy these things. They even addressed that in the film. It's so impressive. Like, literally the actions that we have done over the past however many years that this shoe has been out to obtain these shoes, they address all those actions in the film, as far as standing in long lines, doing whatever we had to do to scrape up our money to get the Jordans, to get in line for the releases on Saturdays. Like, they address all that in the film here because they wanted this shoe to have that impact on the world. They knew this athlete would have this impact on the world. So I'm not even mad at the movie for real for not showing Michael as much, but they do an immensely great job at proving what effect that this shoe had on the world, and it's just beautiful to see. Now, like I said, as far as the performances go, I have no issue with anybody's performance in this film. I mean, everybody brought it. When it comes to filmmaking, when it comes to filmmaking and performances, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, when those two team up, they bring it every time. Those two are absolutely a dynamic duo to the T. To the legit definition of a dynamic duo in Hollywood, that's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. They got to be the best two. Honestly, they got to be one of the best duos in Hollywood, if I'm being real, man. Those two are a problem anytime they step into a room. Matt Damon, I got to start with him. He's honestly one of my favorite performances in the film. I mean, this dude absolutely brought a certain sort of emotional aspect to the film. I mean, him playing Sonny Vaccaro, listening to Sonny Vaccaro, Matt Damon, listening to Matt Damon and Sonny Vaccaro describe the way he sees basketball is like watching the Mona Lisa be painted. I mean, it's poetry or art just being painted in motion. Like, this thing, watching Sonny Vaccaro just watch Jordan and see what we see and describe what he's seeing as Jordan is just literally taking a simple jump shot. What some people would say is a simple jump shot, he described in a way that I have never heard a player be described before as, and it was transcendent. It was magnificent. I loved everything Matt Damon brought to the table. That's why I said this movie is so brilliantly written, because the way they describe Jordan and the way they describe the aspect and the impact that this shoe has on the world, I mean, it's just so phenomenal. My second favorite performance in the film, Viola Davis, hands down. We all know Viola Davis is a problem anytime she steps on screen, but truthfully, watching her portray Mrs. Jordan, Michael's mom, I believe that woman could fly. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, that woman is powerful. That woman is amazing. Like Mrs. Jordan was a problem back in the day. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I believe she was able to fly long before Michael was, because Viola Davis proves that in the film. I mean, she just does such a great job. And when I tell you, like I said, everybody in this film really is going to put a smile on your faces. So you can tell that the cast is just having so much fun having these interactions with each other, the different characters, the different emotional interactions that they're having with each other, because honestly, plainly put, Nike is fucked if they don't pull this deal off. So of course, it's like, this is a very intense situation for a lot of the people working there, and just having guys like Bateman and Chris Tucker give, their different energies to the film, because of course Chris Tucker, while he's nervous, he's still got that Chris Tucker charm, man. He's just joking around, trying to make everybody feel good, take the ease off everybody's shoulders. Chris Tucker did a phenomenal job in the movie. Jason Bateman does a great job as well. He's Jason Bateman, man. Ben Affleck Ben Affleck does amazing. Everybody in the film, even the guy that played Michael Jordan's agent, I absolutely loved him. Everybody gave a dynamic performance in this film that just makes this story feel so much alive and just feels so much more grand than, honestly, I've ever seen. Like, it has that, if you've ever seen the Winning Time show on HBO, this is literally if they were to take what is it, like that show, if they took that show and just turned it into this movie. Like, if the Winning Time show wasn't about the Lakers but about the creation of Jordan's shoe, it's literally the nostalgic feel that it has to it. And Winning Time is a phenomenal show. This is a phenomenal movie. Now, as far as what my issue about the movie, I'm going to be real with you. It has nothing to really do with the movie itself. My only issue is Ben Affleck's legs. I'm not necessarily sure why, because he's not playing Batman anymore, he decided to skip leg day and only do his upper body. But Ben, you have got to get that evened out, because that's just, your legs are too small for your body at this point. I wasn't even sure how Ben Affleck was standing in the film half the time, because it's really not even. His legs are really, really small. I'm not necessarily sure how this dude's living like that, but either way, he's a great actor. So, I mean, it didn't really have anything big to do with the film. It didn't have any crazy knocks on it. I just wanted to say that. But overall, guys, look, this has one of the most nostalgic, just grand feels of a film that you're going to see. It's one of the most inspirational tales of not only a player's career coming to life, but just the impact that this player had on all of our lives. Like, everybody knows, well, essentially everybody who lived in that era especially knows what it was like to watch Michael Jordan play. I mean, for people like us, or I mean, for people like me, it's essentially like stories that were told. But I mean, all the stories that were told that make Jordan feel like this mythical Norse god that he essentially was when he stepped on the court. I mean, this movie proves that he was all that and so much more, man. I mean, I just absolutely adored everything that this movie had to offer. I enjoyed the dialogue. I enjoyed the directing. I enjoyed the performances. Oh, another performance that I thought was absolutely phenomenal, and he's not even in the movie for that long, Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans absolutely has one of the most impactful scenes in the film, and I absolutely adored him. I mean, it's like I said, these guys, it's so good to have guys like Chris Tucker and Marlon Wayans in the film, because they're just so naturally funny. They're just bringing a whole nother point of view to the film that this film really needs. It doesn't need to be like so serious all the time, but it's just a movie about life and just, you know, taking leaps of faith. And I absolutely adored everything that this movie had to offer. And for all those reasons and so many more, guys, I'm going to give Air a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, guys, so Air, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment below your thoughts on the film. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Look, be sure, I already said all that. Look, I be losing my head sometimes. Look, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.